For 1 second. Thanks everybody for coming out tonight. IoT Waterloo is a community that thrives on shared knowledge. We've been around since 2014. We're over 1,700 members now, so that's awesome that the community is just growing and thriving. So as each of our events unfold, there's only two primary goals: to learn something new and to meet somebody new. These events are made possible by community partners, Logisense, IEEE Young Professionals, Descendants Tonight. So this is a great thanks to them that we're able to keep on doing these. So tonight we're going to hear from two expert talks. Then we're going to have some networking, followed by community announcements. We're going to hear from Shiva of Pitstop, George from Alert Labs. Housekeeping, I believe the bathrooms are right down here. Support Descendants Tonight, get yourself a drink. And then after the talks, we're going to have a half-hour networking. So without further ado, we're going to kick it right off. And I'm going to invite Shiva to the stage. Automotive Service Center, building pocket bikes, motors, and retuning engine ECUs. As he grew older, his fascination with electronic control systems and vehicles became obsessive, and a topic that mechanics did not understand well. With a focus in embedded systems architecture, he worked with companies like BlackBerry and, how do you pronounce that? NVIDIA, refining his skill set, combining his technical background in ECE with his lifelong passion for fixing cars. Shiva started Pitstop fundamentally looking to disrupt the automotive industry. So without further ado, let's hear what he has to say.
My name is Shiva. I'm the CEO and founder of Pitstop. What we do is we're focused on predicting vehicle failures before they happen. So ultimately, we're solving the problem of taking the mind of a technician and bringing it into software via artificial intelligence. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the industry and then our technology. So basically, 100 years ago, the first vehicle rolled off the assembly line, which is the Model T, and it literally disrupted the world. We were riding around in carriages and horses at the time. And today, the biggest problem, though, that we're seeing in the world is the simple fact that vehicles are polluting our Earth significantly. So the thing that completely disrupted our world 100 years ago is now becoming one of the core problems. And so the question is, what's going to happen in the next 100 years? And what we're seeing is obviously this autonomous, connected, electric revolution about to begin. But what is often missed in this beautiful future is the simple fact that last year, in 2016, there's a record-breaking 35 million vehicles that broke down on the side of the road. And the reason why this happens is, like, over time, vehicles have gotten much better mechanically, so their reliability has increased significantly. But the thing is that the electronic control units on the systems, on these systems, on vehicles, are becoming increasingly complicated. Right now, there's more lines of code on the average vehicle on the road than there is on the average plane flying around in the air. And so that's the level of complexity that leads to such record-breaking statistics. And so the question is, when we do have this autonomous future, what is the software that's going to need to sit on top of this autonomous connected vehicle that's really going to drive the enablement of its success? And the piece that we're focused on is predictive maintenance. So the ability for a vehicle to self-diagnose and understand when it's going to see a failure before it happens. So it's all about being able to identify failures before it happens. And so the way our software works is it sits on top of the connected car stack, and what we do is we're pulling sensor data from the vehicle directly. So we pull over 300 sensors every 2 seconds. We're able to look for anomalies and failure and patterns that will lead to a failure in the future. And that's kind of how this system works. I'll go into it a little bit more later. But it's really about identifying when recalls are going to fail on the vehicle, any emissions-related failures, so if the vehicle is emitting more smog than it needs to be, so really regulating the vehicle, sharing that data back to suppliers so they can more efficiently design their cars. Right now, the design cycle for a vehicle is 3 to 5 years. So being able to bring that down to cycles within months is a critical innovation that's necessary in the automotive space. And that's kind of how we're focused on taking vehicle data, understanding how components are behaving and how they're going to fail, and then sharing that back to the channel so we can move more efficiently as we design cars. By 2020, it's estimated that the vehicle self-diagnosing software will be valued at $7 billion, growing at a rate of 29% year over year after that. And this is all based on the fact that the future is this autonomous connected vehicle. So what really makes our software extremely special is the process that we use in capturing data, cleaning the data, classifying the data, and then training our algorithms. So we have a number of machine learning algorithms, and based on that data, and then we're able to identify failures. So the way it works is we're able to take, like I said, 300 sensors from the vehicle every 2 seconds from the day the vehicle was sold to the customer all the way till the end of its life. And we're able to see when every time a service was done. So let's say a fuel pump fails. So after 3 months of owning a car, your fuel pump fails for some reason. Why did that happen? We go through that data set, our algorithms go through it, and it identifies what patterns emerged that led to that failure. Now imagine if you had 2,000 of those cases. So 2,000 vehicles that had a fuel pump failure, different makes, different models, so Fords, GMs, Chryslers, all different vehicle types. Our algorithms now know distinctly exactly what patterns lead to that failure. And so that's what drives the robustness and accuracy and the insights. Today, our data set is focused around the combustion engine. So it is around everything that goes wrong with the engine. So we get data from air intake system, anything to do with fuel going into the engine, the timing of the engine, exhaust outflow, recirculation, so everything surrounding the vehicle failure. We then map that with context. So is your vehicle going up a hill? What's the weather conditions around you? A series of factors like that, your driving habits. And then finally, we couple that with failure data. So we work with dealerships, service centers to get historical records on how they fix cars. We work with tier 1 suppliers on how their parts have failed historically, and we put that all together to drive these insights. I'll give you a quick example of something we've been able to predict for our customers. So in this example, a customer was driving on the road. We sent an alert through our mobile application to the end customer about a failure that was going to occur. And what we noticed was that the coolant was starting to leak, and it was going to get to a point where the head gasket was going to blow because the temperature would have exceeded drastically on that particular vehicle. So we got them to pull over. The dealership got a tow truck out to that customer and brought him in. And so what it ended up preventing was him from changing his whole engine. And so by using predictive maintenance, we're able to really prevent these catastrophic failures from happening. So back in 2015 is where Pitstop began, and what we were doing, so me and my co-founder Yeshin, we actually started a product called Shocklock initially while we were at the University of Waterloo. We sold that to about 1,500 technicians, and while we were doing that, I was coming up with this predictive maintenance algorithm, the first version of it. We went out to Detroit, we pitched to Bill Ford, Verizon, and Techstars Group, and we were able to get some funding initially to get this going. So we started in 2015, and now we've grown quite a bit, and I'll go through some of our growth metrics in a bit. But really, I guess some of the questions that you might have is, why don't car manufacturers do this themselves, or are they doing this already by themselves? And the key thing is, so I talked to a lot of executives from the auto industry, and the key is that when, for example, if I'm the executive at Ford, I'm very focused on how can I monetize off of my vehicle, or how do I make it such that I can sell more of my vehicle? And the key to solving this particular problem with predictive maintenance is that the data set needs to be of a large variety. So you need to not have only Ford vehicle data, you need to have data from all the other manufacturers as well. And the reason is because all the parts that are supplied to these car manufacturers all come from the same source. So I don't know if you guys have heard of Magna. Like Magna, Bosch, these companies supply all these parts to Ford and GM. So a lot of the parts in Ford also exist in a GM vehicle. And so when you take that piece of the equation, as well as the fact that an OEM like Ford and their dealerships aren't actually related as you might think they are, they're very independent. So the dealership doesn't share data with Ford. So all this historical records on what their mechanics are doing is not being aggregated and shared back to the OEM. And so it's the ability to combine that information that allows us to be specifically positioned
to do this in the most robust and accurate way. And that's kind of really what differentiates our approach, is that we're an aftermarket third-party vendor that's able to do this. So we took our intelligence, our artificial intelligence, focused on predictive maintenance, and we put it into a product. And what it's called is our all-in-one connected maintenance product. So the way it works is, when you go to get a vehicle, buy a vehicle, or service your vehicle at a dealership powered by PitStop, what they provide you with is a telematics device that plugs in under the dashboard of the vehicle. It's called the onboard diagnostics port. This device then connects to your mobile phone, and what it's doing is sending all that sensor information back to our backend, which is then constantly analyzing and driving intelligence. To the end user, what you get is any identification of failures that will occur in your vehicle, recall notifications, or basic services like, hey, your oil is degrading, it's time for you to go and get that oil change. So the concept with this is really flipping the model of how you think about service. So no longer is an individual at the service center trying to upsell you on something you have no idea about, but now you're empowered because your vehicle's data is now telling you about things you need. And so what's so amazing about this software is that we sell it to dealerships and service centers, and they give it to free of charge to their end customer. And it gives all this analytics and insights to the customer and allows them to book appointments and message their service provider right away when there's a failure that occurs on the vehicle. So that's kind of how the system works. So these stats are a little bit outdated, but we have over 10 dealerships on the system. We have now over 1,200 connected cars on our platform. And from the statistics, the most important thing is that 40% of our user base has booked 2 or more appointments back to our service centers. And why that's so important is because what it's showing is that by giving consumers information about their vehicle and the ability to make decisions on their own, it empowers them to want to go and do something about it. And it flips the psychology in comparison to the way we have to deal with our cars today. And that's what makes our current business so powerful. And so we're actually growing our revenue at 30% month over month. We're delivering about 250 devices every single month, and this is growing exponentially. What we're going to sell in this quarter is as much as what we sold last year. So things are going really well for us as a company. This is our founding team. So myself, my personal background is growing up in my father's service center. At the age of around 15, I realized that the number of ECUs and computers being embedded in vehicles far surpassed the rate that a mechanic would actually learn and understand how these things work. So I became this diagnostic expert. As I did that, I wanted to learn more about electrical systems, so I came to Waterloo for electrical engineering and got really deep into it. But as I was graduating, I asked myself the reason I came into this was really because of automotive. And so what is the biggest impact I can make? And I realized that nobody is truthfully leveraging this information coming off the vehicle. And so I joined forces with my partner Yashin. That's the individual I started Chalkwalk with. The reason we started that was I seen a hood fall on one of the technicians' heads. He got 6 stitches on his head. So we built this quick tool. I thought it would take 4 months for me to build it. It ended up taking like 16 months. But by the time we launched it, we sold over 1,500 of those units. And as we were doing that, we then stumbled upon this next business model and been growing ever since. And then Nitish, he's our lead engineer. And Rosa, she has extensive experience working with dealerships across Ontario as well as the US. So she really leads a lot of our sales and customer success. And then we have a great team of computer scientists, like 2 PhDs in machine learning, and a group of mobile developers, backend developers. That's kind of the gist of our team. So some of our mentors, the ex-CTO of Ford is a close friend of mine, Paul Mascarenas, and these are the type of people that we affiliate with ourselves with. So I guess I was just going to go maybe quickly through the story. So back in 2015 is when we came up with the concept. We pitched it to Ford, like I mentioned, got some investment. We then asked ourselves where this algorithm could be of most value. So we went to the fleet industry, to the insurance industry. We talked to the car manufacturers. And what we realized was that the lowest hanging fruit was really in, or what we thought was really in this service to consumer behavior, because it's such a nasty experience. We all probably have negative experiences while working with maybe a mechanic or know the perception of that. And that in itself is a huge problem that needs to be fixed. It should never be where when you're spending money that it should be so negative. Right? You should be empowered before you spend money. And so I guess that was the whole gist. So we launched our pilot then that summer with a dealership out in Michigan, Village Ford. That's like Ford's flagship dealership. It's one of the largest. We launched with about 100 customers. We had 40 people book an appointment after 1 month of already getting service done. And what that says is that the service provider basically missed out on a whole bunch of things that these customers actually needed for their vehicle. And so we realized we were onto something. So we spent another 6 months to actually build out the platform. In February of 2016, we launched it with our first 6 dealerships. They were all pretty local around here. So Waterloo Dodge, Parkway Ford, Cambridge Toyota, Gulf Chrysler, there's a few other ones. We launched it with them, and ever since that, things have been growing. So from last year to this year, we had 2 employees, me and my co-founder, and now we're at about 14. So things are going well from there. But it's really about, I guess, connecting maintenance, and us having this telematics device plugged into the car is what enables us to do all this intelligence. So it's how do you take, once you do have a connected system or connected hardware, what is the things you can do beyond that to really drive value to people? So it's great to have data, but what's really important, what actually matters is how do you make decisions off of that data set? So, and I think that's the key to IoT in general, is how do you help people make decisions faster and more effectively. And that's kind of what we're focused on in the automotive space, in service.
Thank you.
We have about 10 minutes for Q&A. Does anybody have any questions for Shiva?
Right here, and then we'll go next to Mike.
Who's paying for the telematic device? The customer, the car owner, or the mechanic?
So right now the dealerships pay for it, and they give it to their customers for free.
So basically you provide the data to the dealership that owns the telematic device.
Yeah, so we analyze the data and then help them make the right decision on how to reach out to the customer. Yeah.
Because you don't give the data to the customer to go to any repair shop they want.
Well, the truth is the customer does get all the information on the app, so they could theoretically do whatever they want. We don't control anyone. It's more so that now me as a dealer, at least I know that you went somewhere else, so maybe the next time I should give you a bigger discount, or I should do something extra now to bring you back in. At least they have this knowledge now. Yeah.
Have you reached out to any governments like California, Ontario, whatever, for emissions standards testing so that they can do that real time rather than everything huge?
Yeah, that's a great point. So I've been working on a proposal recently on that point. So right here, I'll talk about Ontario quickly. We have a drive clean program. Every 2 years, we're enforced to do this test. Maybe many people don't actually know why they have to do it. Like you do it to get your license plate sticker. It's not because you care about the environment, or they don't make it like that. And so the best way to actually increase the productivity of that program, which is how many kilotons of emissions can you reduce in a period of time. So right now, because their testing frequency is 2 years, it's like kind of ineffective. It's better than not having it, but how do you improve it? So with a system like ours, we can reduce the cost of emissions per kiloton to $8,000 per kiloton, and what it is right now is like $35,000. And it's just by the cost for doing one test is really expensive right now, because you physically got to go there, you pay $30, they're flipping that, the government's now going to pay on your behalf, but there's a $30 cost, and so every time you want to do that test is a cost, so it like grows linearly. Whereas with our system, it's a one-time cost, but you can continuously do this test. And the key, I think, is explaining to you as a user, hey, guess what? Right now you're driving and your car's emitting 5 times more emissions than it should be, which means like you're probably going to kill, I don't know, an animal or two. So maybe if you spend $500, maybe you can make a difference. And I think that empowers people to want to do it. And so, yeah, there's a proposal I'm working on, trying to push it. I just really started on it in November of last year, so. Yeah.
How can this be used for usage-based insurance?
Yeah, so we personally don't focus on it, but the idea of like, there's a lot of these plug-in devices into cars, right? And so a lot of people ask us what differentiates us all. So I think the way to think about it is that vehicle gets connected to the internet is the whole point, and there's many services that will sit on it. It's just like the internet, but it's going to be the internet of the vehicle, I guess. So there'll be specific services that we all use because it's more safety critical than our phone. Like if our phone has malware, it sucks because we get data, like our personal data gets hacked, but in a vehicle it's way more scarier because the car could crash or it could kill someone. And so that's why it's more regulated. And so with usage-based like insurance, the idea is how do you use this data to drive value on the insurance industry? So I think it's more about, so we don't focus on that service, but there's many, I think the idea is that there's many services that will drive a lot of value to people, and that is one big one. But it's not something that I focus on particularly, but it is a big one. Yeah.
Is it possible to plug in both your device, use your algorithms, as well as use devices from insurance companies that track your driving habits to regulate what your insurance rates are going to be?
Yeah, so there is splitters that you can get to put in both. I don't actually recommend it. I usually say whatever, just keep your insurance device, that's fine with me. The real model I think is having our back-end software even empower their services that they provide to end users. I think that's the real goal, but it takes some time to get there.
Partnerships with those.
Exactly, because we're so software focused. So even this hardware that I have, I work with hardware vendors. I give them specs and they provide us with hardware. So we are really software focused for that reason, because we believe that, I think that the car manufacturer needs to come out with a connected modem that is more open to software providers like myself, so that people could get many benefits.
But if you go that route, you get a huge backlash from car owners. From car owners, you want to provide usage statistics to insurance companies. That's a bad road to go.
Right. Yeah, like for us personally, we don't sell data there, but there are other companies that work on providing that business model. So, yeah. Okay.
Just out of curiosity, going back to the emissions discussion,
Yeah.
would your solution would have been able to detect Volkswagen doing their illegal emissions?
So last year, I had some work with the Volkswagen Canada in the marketing division. They're trying to figure out ways to make it feel better. So I guess this is what it is. When you're on the road, the system lets loose on its parameters, and so it'll emit more exhaust fumes. And so yeah, you can detect it. It's pretty easy to detect. It's just no regulated system is detecting the car while it's driving on the road, and that's how they hacked it. Like that's how they skipped the process. Yeah, it's actually easy to detect it. That's the thing.
The artificial intelligence engine is stable, or how you intend to evolve it? Or?
Yeah, so right now we have 4 algorithms that are live on the system. It's focused on the powertrain, like I mentioned before. Of course, the more data it has, the more accurate it gets. So our validation right now is between 80 to 90% accurate, and that's while we're like validating against tier 1 supplier data. So the thing is, like, if you have, like, say, 10 cars worth of data, and you have 80% accuracy, it doesn't matter because maybe it's completely inaccurate on the other 100,000, right? So it's how big is your data set is really what determines the accuracy. Yeah. So the cases we have are from these tier 1 suppliers. They have like millions of cases that they have recorded, and they give it to companies like us to try to see what kind of insights we can drive. And so we've trained our models, those 4 models specifically based on that data set. But yeah, it's always growing. It's continuously always going to be growing.
How new should the car be for you to get to that information? Because you rely on the sensors that's already installed.
Exactly.
So if you get any data more than what's required, for example, by drivetrain, then many cars may not be able to provide that kind of information.
Right, that's actually spot on. So after 1996 is when it's been regulated that this protocol needs to exist. What luckily has happened is that most manufacturers just adopted that protocol because they were forced to install it, and then they added their own systems to it. And it's quite easy to get a lot of the core information. There's different layers. It's called J1979 layer, and then there's layers below that are specific to the manufacturer. But there's ways to get access to all of it.
And you support most of the...
Yeah, exactly. But while working with our hardware vendors. That's how we pick our hardware vendors. Yeah.
You mentioned you collect data every 2 seconds. Do you send all this data to the backend to process it, or you do local processing?
No, it's in the back end. Everything's getting processed in the back end.
And this is live, or do you wait for Wi-Fi, or how?
So what we see is that if you drive like 300 hours a month, if you drive that much, it's like 8 megabytes of data. Because we're just talking about raw hex data. It's not like there's no pictures in there, so it's very low bandwidth.
You got time for one more?
You mentioned that you're working with the car dealerships. There's a cost attached to this for them. How are they justifying the business case on giving this away for free? What are they seeing? Are they using it as a sales tool on their side?
Mm-hmm.
Are they saying, hey, we're better than the dealership next door? Or what are they doing? Why would they do this?
I think it comes down to retention. So like if you look at their numbers of retention, so the first service, like 80% of people go back, and then it just drops off like exponentially. So the next one 60%, and then it just goes. If you go like 2 years out, only like 15% of people come back to it. So they buy their car, they go the first few times because they feel comfortable, or if they have extended warranty packages or something, they go back. But after that, they just drop out. And so,
Because they charge you $30 for windshield washer fluid.
exactly. So it's not fair, right? That's what it is. It's because the experience is broken. That's the problem. So how do you fix that experience? So the question. So we go in and basically say, you should know that you have a broken experience. So what are you doing about it? Because you're losing 44% of their profit comes from service. So if you're losing that, you must be doing something wrong. So I think that's why they're adopting it right now. It is kind of the forward thinking dealers for sure, but that's the reason why. It's time to change, right? This industry has been too long in the state. It's time for change.
Thank you.
Now it's just a thing.